This is Lord of the Rings by someone who has never at all ever seen Lord of the Rings and only knows things from memes. So, um, let's get into it. So it starts off with this guy named Frodo, right? And he's a hobbit. I know that much. He's just a little guy. And then this big guy shows up, and his name is Gandalf, and he's a wizard and shit. And he's like, hey, my old friend Frodo. And Frodo's like, oh, hey, Gandalf. Are we gonna tell everybody how we met? And he's like, no. And then he's all like, oh, keep your secrets then. Anyway, so they go to Frodo's house, and I don't exactly know how this exchange happens, but there's like a magic ring. And like they're like, oh, your relatives had this, but now you got it. We need you to go destroy it. And we're like, why can't Gandalf go destroy it? It's like, because he's a fucking busy wizard or some shit. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But Frodo's the one guy in this entire movie that's like got no fighting experience. He doesn't even have a sword to his name, I don't think. They're like, you go fucking throw it into Mount Doom or this big old eyeball tower is going to be pissed or some shit. It's a one ring to rule them all, but I know there's a whole bunch of rings, but this is like the big important ring. But the big old eyeball will be fucking like, I don't know if can he shoot lasers or something. I don't know why this guy's threatening, but there's a big tower with an eyeball on it, and that's a bad guy. So that's the guy that we're like, no, we don't want that guy right now. We gotta get rid of this ring, right? So Frodo goes on a quest, right? And he brings along three other dudes with him. Why does he bring these three other dudes? I don't know. But none of these dudes, they're all hobbits as well. I should mention that. None of these dudes have any fighting prowess. So why they gave the most magical ring in the world to fucking four dudes who don't know what the shit they're doing? And like, honestly, like the as I know, one does not simply walk into Mordor, so I assume they start here and they're gonna walk like all this way to like the big old tower with the eyeball. And these guys got like the shortest leg span of all time. And they're like, yeah, we'll let these four dudes with short little leg spans fucking go take care of this ring and go on this epic quest. Even though Gandalf is a fucking wizard and could probably destroy it. Anyway, that's not the point here. I'm just mad about that. Anyway, these four little guys go and they're going along, and it turns out that there's evil guys, and they're evil guys that work for the big old eyeball. I don't know why they work for the eyeball. Again, I don't know why the eyeball is threatening. They're just like in black cloaks or something. I don't know anything about these guys. I think they're evil. I think they wear helmets. I don't know, but they're chasing them. But apparently, it turns out if you put on the ring, you become invisible. So Frodo does this, right? He like hides under a log. He's like under a log, and this guy's like peeking over the log, like hello. And Frodo's like invisible, so he doesn't see him. And then they're like, "Oh, we made it. We're safe." I don't know what these three other dudes are doing while this scene is happening, but they're not in danger. So then they go to a bar, and they're all like, "Hey, we're on a magic quest to go get rid of the ring, everybody." Like, hey, check us out. And I think everybody's pretty nice to them for the most part. But then, um, I don't actually know what happens, but there's a shenanigan that happens. And now the people are mad at them. And so, instead, what they do is, they get thrown in like jail. They try to run away from this bar, and then they wind up in like jail or some shit. And they're like, "Oh, we're stuck in the jail. We're real sad about this. We're supposed to be on a quest to go destroy the rings." And then like this elf comes downstairs, and his name is Legolas. And he comes down the stairs, and he's like, "Sluts." I don't think he's relevant yet to the plot. He just shows up for some reason down these stairs. He's got really long legs as compared, so I don't know why they didn't just send elves. Speaking of elves, there's also an incredibly white woman. There's one woman in the whole series, and she is fucking like white. Like I'm talking like blindingly white. Every scene she's in is just doused in white. And she's like, "Oh, these are the guys that are going on the quest. We should probably help them." So she lets all four of them out of the little elf jail they're in or whatever, and she's like, "I'll introduce you to some guys." And then so she introduces them to a bunch of dudes. The dudes are Legolas, as seen before. He's an elf. A regular human with a beard, He's the one with the sword. He's this one's the you have my arrows and you have my sword, and then there's the dwarf, and the dwarf is like you have my axe. But also this guy with the sword, there's like a carbon copy version of him. Who has dark hair? There's two dudes, and one of them, one dies at some point, and the other one breaks his foot when he kicks a helmet. And that's a very important to the lore. But they're pretty much carbon copy. They're both dudes. I think they both use swords. They're just both dudes. Anyway, back to the quest. She's like, "You will be the Fellowship of the Ring." This lady over here. She's like, "Oh, you will be the Fellowship." So it's now Legolas, the elf, the light beard guy, the dark beard guy, a dwarf, Gimli, um, and Gandalf. Gandalf is not seen here, but he shows up. He just like wizard poofs in. I don't know where the fuck he was. Actually, let's talk about that. We'll talk about that later. Anyway, Gandalf just likes to fuck off sometimes. You'll find a lot of people in Lord of the Rings just fuck off for no reason. Anyway, carrying on. So now they're all on a quest together, and they're all pretty happy, and they're going along, and they come to this cave set, right? And they're all like, I think this is after the other guy dies, so they don't got to worry about two humans. They only got one to worry about. So they go and they're walking along and they're like, oh, we got to go into this cave. And they go into the cave and there's a big old monster that's after them. I don't know its name. It's a big old monster. And then Gandalf is all like, you shall not pass. And he holds his stick up and he like breaks the ground, and Frodo is like, Mr. Gandalf, no! And he's all sad because Gandalf falls. And everybody else is like, Frodo, we gotta carry on. You can't just be sitting here crying about Gandalf the whole time. And Gandalf has fallen down this cliff with the Balrog. Yeah, that's its name, the Balrog. He fell down. They fell down the cliff, so they're presumed dead. This guy, Gandalf's not, but they're presumed dead. Anyway, carrying on, they're all pretty bummed about that entire thing, and Frodo's like, I don't want anybody else to die! And he, like, goes running off on his own, and everybody just kind of lets him, even though he's got, like, fucking, like, you could see him walking away, and that's why they're like, Legolas, what do your elf eyes see? And he's like, they're taking the hobbits to Isengard. I don't know where the fuck Isengard is, but they're taking the hobbits there. And Legolas could see this and probably sees Frodo like sneaking off, being like, I don't want anybody to die. And for like being the little dude with no battle prowess at all, they sure just fucking let him go. And meanwhile, it turns out Gandalf is not dead. He's in a tower with a guy I thought was Gandalf as well, a second Gandalf. But he's not. He's just another wizard, and he's got angry-ass eyebrows like this. And he goes there, and he's like, hey, my little friend Frodo, he's going to be coming along towards your tower, and he's got 2 towers. These aren't the ones with the eyeball. These are like bigger ones. And there's like a scene, and there's like 2 towers or statues. I don't know if they're statues or if they're towers. And there's like a little boat that goes between them. And he's like, hey, when my little buddy Frodo comes along, can you let his boat go through these 2 towers? And this guy's like, no. And he's got massive eyebrows. That's where he keeps all his angry. And I think he's evil, but I don't even know what he does. But I'm pretty sure he owns these towers. Anyway, carrying on with the quest, Frodo's now by himself, except, he's totally by himself. He's totally by himself, and he's, like, underground, and he meets this little guy named Smeagol? I want to call him Smurgle, but I know that's definitely not it. This little guy named Smurgle, and he's like, me precious. He has a terrible video game made about him. But he wants the ring because he originally had the ring, and Frodo now has the ring. So Smurgle's like, give me the fucking ring. And he's like, no. And then they eat fish. And then Frodo's like, I'll just escape with the ring. And Frodo escapes with the ring, but Frodo feels like a little crazy. Because like the ring affects your brains and makes you fucked up. Anyway, Frodo kind of continues on, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't know what's happening, but like there's a battle. There's a big old battle, and the one guy like from before with the beard that breaks his foot, the foot guy. Foot guy is all like, we gotta help Frodo. And instead of like following him and protecting him from like the things he's got to do, instead they're like, let's do war. Let's do war about it. And I don't know exactly why they're warring, but like maybe it's helping Frodo somehow. I don't know this part. Anyway, this part is where Legolas and Gimli they have their scene. Have you ever seen Kingdom Hearts? And there's this part where Squall and uh fucking Cloud are hanging out, and they're like, oh, do you think we could take this many bad guys? And they're like, oh, it'll be hard if one more shows up. And he's like, oh, that'll be the one I'll take care of then. And they're like, oh, you're fighting too. And they kind of have like this weird bromance thing going on. So yeah, the elf and the dwarf kind of have this rad bromance going on during this war. Frodo's like dying probably. Anyway, so Frodo goes to the big old tower with the eyeball. Again, still don't know why this eyeball is a threat, but the eyeball's there and it's surrounded by lava. So like Frodo just like chucks the ring into the lava. And I'm gonna be honest, I have no idea what the end of fucking Lord of the Rings is, so I'm just making this up here. Anyway, so Frodo chucks the ring into the lava, and like the evil eyeball is like, no, that was my one fucking plan. Like, why did I surround myself by lava? Fuck, this was a stupid idea. And then the ring is destroyed, and then the efforts of like having to like destroy the ring have really taken a toll on Frodo, and he's like, oh no. And then it turns out the entire time his friend was with him. Where was his friend during the whole eating a fish thing? I don't fucking know. But he shows up and he's like, oh, Mr. Frodo, don't die. And like he kind of dies, and like this guy like gives him mouth to mouth or some shit, and like brings him back to life. So like Frodo's only dead for like, I don't know, like 50 seconds or some shit, like not enough to cause brain damage or anything. He's not like really dead, it's just like unconscious kind of thing. But yeah, he brings it back to life, and then Mr. Frodo's happy, and then the other guys win the war, so they're all happy. And then the big old, you remember the bright chick I was talking about? This bright chick makes out with Foot Guy, and they're like, oh man, I would give up all my lifetimes to do funky fresh feet things with you. Because she's an elf, so she lives a long time, and he's a human, and he doesn't live a long time. So she's like, I'll just become a human, I think, is a thing. And then the elves are happy, and there's other rings and stuff. And I don't actually know how the movies end, but that's the end. And that's Lord of the Rings. And then the credits roll, and it's 3 movies. I don't know why it's 3 movies to tell that story, but it is. And that's Lord of the Rings by Wazy. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. And now I will see if that's correct or not.